Would any of you advise a client to defy a federal court order?
No.
None of you would? How about you, Professor?
I mean, under most circumstances, we follow the government and private parties follow court orders. I suppose it's not, I would not rule out ever the possibility that in a sufficiently egregious order, there should be some consideration of whether there's a way.
So in some cases,
I think it's a qualified answer,
in
yes.
some cases you would.
In an extremely narrow band of cases, I think it would be considered, yes.
Okay. Do any of you think that nationwide or universal injunctions are not being abused?
I'm not sure what if I may, Senator, I'm not sure what the time horizon of the question is. I don't think that there could be good faith disagreements about the correctness of some of them, but I have not seen in the last 4 months abuse. No.
I've read your stuff, and I've read your writings, and I don't want to get bogged down with this, but I have little respect for your opinion because I've read your stuff. When someone is in the White House that you agree with and someone gets a universal injunction against him, you don't like universal injunctions. You called them judges acting like they're politicians in robes and judges looking like crass political actors. But now that President Trump's in the White House, who you dislike, you think that universal injunctions taste like pumpkin pie. So I have to discount what you say because I think you act on your political beliefs. And I worry that that's what you're teaching your kids. So I'll leave you out of that. Do you think nationwide injunctions are being abused?
Certainly, Senator. I think that is.
They're being abused by both sides, aren't they?
Yes, Senator.
Both Republicans and Democrats are forum shopping, aren't they?
Certainly.
Professor, do you disagree with that?
I think both sides are abusing them. I agree.
Okay. Both sides.
Yeah.
There are no clean hands here. Now, your suggestion is that when a federal judge issues a nationwide injunction, there should be an automatic stay and an expedited right of appeal. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you disagree with that?
I haven't given enough thought to have a position on it, Senator.
I suspect, Professor, your answer will be it depends on who's president.
No, Senator.
Let me ask you about this. What if we had a rule? I was reading an article the other day. I'm not suggesting it. I just want your opinions. That said, if a president, any president, issues an executive order, let's say, that clearly violates settled Supreme Court precedent, that a federal judge can't issue a nationwide injunction. For example, if a federal president issued an order that said no one in America has right to counsel any longer, including but not limited to, in a felony case, having the government pay for your lawyer if you can't afford it. That clearly violates settled Gideon v. Wainwright. In that case, a judge has no authority or does have authority to issue a nationwide injunction. But in a case where the law is unclear, a judge should refrain from that. Now, obviously, we'd have to trust our judges, but we're supposed to be able to trust them anyway. What do you think about that?
I don't agree with that, Senator, because I think universal injunctions transgress the limitations under Article 3, even if the underlying merits are clear.
I happen to agree with you. I don't think there's any basis under Article 3, under Supreme Court precedent, under the English common law for nationwide injunctions. I think politicians have helped judges, and many judges are politicians, to just make it up. And many of them are like Professor Shaw here. If they like the president, they're against nationwide injunctions. If they don't like the president, they're for him. Professor, let me ask you this while I have you. On April 22nd, 2024, you said there are some members of the Supreme Court that are evil. Which justices were you talking about?
I'll take it your word, Senator. I don't recall using that word, but
All right, here's what you said. You were talking about the majority opinion in Muldrow v. City of St. Louis. You said, quote, Justice Kagan, will she be able to control the opinion's future distortion by her evil colleagues? Probably not, end quote. Who were you talking about?
sir, I'm very skeptical. If there's a transcription, it was probably a transcription error. I do not think I said.
No, you said it. Why don't you own up to it? Which you call some of the members of the Supreme Court evil. Now, which ones do you think are evil?
I would have to refresh my recollection. I've been very critical
You're
of some
embarrassed
members of the
that
Supreme
you made
Court.
that statement, aren't you?
I'm
You're an officer
Senator, it
of the
doesn't sound
court.
like something that
You know
I
what
would
I'm
say.
embarrassed at? That you're teaching our kids.
I don't refer to Supreme Court justices as evil in
Did,
the
right here,
in the classroom,
on
sir.
your podcast, April 22nd, 2024.
Okay, well,
Big as Dallas. And you're an officer of the court, and you're here advising us to be respectful to federal judges, and you say they're evil members of the United States Supreme Court? Gag me with a spoon. You're part of what's the problem in all of this.
Welcome back to Republicant Forum, the channel where we defend our values, speak the truth, and call out the radical left and their allies in black robes. If you love your freedom, the Constitution, and believe America is worth fighting for, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that Liberty Bell so you never miss an upload. All right, patriots, let's get into today's eye-opener. A congressional hearing that pulled the mask off the activist legal elite and showed us just how far some judges and professors are willing to go to push their political agenda. So the senator opens with a powerful question. Would you ever advise your client to defy a federal court order? Most said no, as they should, but one professor left the door open, basically saying, well, maybe in some cases. Excuse me? That's a green light for selective lawlessness based on feelings. That's not legal integrity. That's anarcho-elitism. And then comes a discussion on nationwide injunctions, where one judge in one district can freeze a law for the entire nation. That's not how this republic was designed to function. This isn't king-making, it's chaos. The senator, bless him, lays it out crystal clear. This professor used to hate nationwide injunctions, called them political stunts, when Trump was in the White House. But now that Biden's running the show, suddenly they taste like pumpkin pie. Folks, if that ain't the definition of partisan double standards, I don't know what is. The senator suggests something brilliant. Automatic stays and expedited appeals when a nationwide injunction is issued. It's common sense. It keeps activist judges in check. But the panel dodges. Why? Because they don't want balance. They want unchecked power. And then the senator throws a hypothetical that should chill you to your core. What if a president said Americans no longer have the right to a lawyer? Would a judge be allowed to stop that? The answer should be obvious, but the academic elite couldn't even commit to that. That tells you everything. And let's not forget the jaw dropper. One of the professors literally called Supreme Court justices evil. He said it. It's on the record. And now he's squirming under oath trying to deny it. These are the people teaching our children and shaping the future of our legal system. It's disgraceful. This is what we're up against. Friends, it's not just political games. It's a systemic attempt to erode the rule of law and replace it with ideological rule. That's why Republicant Forum exists, to shine the light, speak the truth, and never back down from these battles. If we don't fight this legal overreach now, we'll wake up in a country run not by laws, but by feelings, faculty lounges, and activist robes. If you're fired up like I am, show it. Smash that like button. Share this video with fellow patriots, and drop a comment below. Do you think nationwide injunctions are being abused? Should one judge be able to overrule an entire nation? Let your voice be heard. And remember, here at Republicant Forum, we stand for faith, family, freedom, and the Constitution. Stay strong, stay vocal, and as always, God bless the United States of America.